is about learning. So learning is, say, in our entire lifespan, right from birth to till the death, each and every person learns something than the other. As learning is a continuous process. So do you have any idea how we can define learning? How we can explain it's an learning?
Ma'am, acquiring of knowledge, continuous acquiring of
Very
knowledge.
good. Yes.
And application of it.
Okay. Acquiring of knowledge. Okay. Anything else?
From birth to death, madam, the people observe the environment, they know, they see and imitate.
Only 20 participants.
And it is for their own survival. For their own survival, we have to learn so many things, and by seeing the surroundings, environment, in a formal and informal ways also we learn. So,
yes,
how to eat, how to walk, how to behave, and how all these things we learn from outside world only.
Every activity we do is part of learning, or whatever, every second or every day in our life, we keep doing things but keep learning, right? So learning can be defined like that.
Madam. What I feel that for everyone there is a purpose of our existence. So, based on that existence, we have to move forward. So based on that, we will learn from each and every one, our environment, surroundings, like that.
Ma'am, learning is a continuous process from birth to death. We acquire knowledge and skills to improve our lifestyles.
Ma'am, something we can learn from our experiences also, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Ma'am, I think you are stuck, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Your voice is breaking. Audio is not clear, ma'am. No, ma'am. Still, your audio is not clear.
Now is it clear? Clear? Am I clear now?
No, ma'am.
Hello?
It's not clear. It's not clear. It's not clear, ma'am.
Just give me 2 minutes. I'll log in from another device.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what's happening. Our college net is not working. Uh, okay, if I'm audible, I'll continue like this only. Please bear with me. So yes, we are talking about the learning. So learning is a continuous process. Is it clear now? Are you able to hear me?
No, ma'am, your voice is not clear. Like it is breaking a bit.
Hello?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
somewhat better, ma'am.
So it's an process. Yes, right from the birth to death, every individual will learn something than the other. So here, do we can say learning as an inborn quality or a learned behavior? How we can define learning?
It is a learned behavior, ma'am.
Learned
Both,
behavior.
madam.
Always?
Both, madam.
Very good. Yes, it's both. So learning will have this inborn capabilities. So here, these capabilities actually helping us to how to deal with the environment. Yes, how we can adapt it, how we can understand it. So without this, just a moment, without this inborn capabilities, we just can't deal with the environment. So both nature and nurture, both are equally important in learning. Whatever, not only in learning, whatever the concept we take, both are equally important. Yes. So actually these inborn qualities only giving an idea like what or how to deal with the situation. I'm trying to join with one more device. Yes. So here certain things, not all the learning, whatever the capabilities we have, not all are like only through learning. Yes. So certain qualities what we have, certain capabilities which are totally inborn, like what we actually discussed about reflexive actions. Yes. So few capabilities what we have are unlearned and few are learned. Yes. So here in psychology right now in our unit, we are not talking about unlearned capabilities, but we are talking about learned capabilities. Yes. What are the various learned capabilities which giving a direction, showing a path to our behavior. Okay.
Yes, madam. Hello. Hello. Can you say learning is a change in memory as a result of experience and which is maybe permanent, relatively permanent?
Sir, actually, ma'am is not there in the session, right? Like,
I think she got disconnected.
yeah.
That is the thing.
We'll just wait for 5-10 minutes.
What happened? Am I not audible from
You
the
are audible, ma'am.
demands?
You are
No,
audible.
from the previous. Oh, no voice. Okay.
Yes,
Oh, it's
madam.
creating a lot of disturbance actually. Is it clear now?
Oh, ma'am, you are not like your voice is breaking a bit.
Please try to understand from this only. I can't help.
Madam, for
Tomorrow
the
will
past 5 to 10
definitely.
minutes, your voice is not there, madam. We are not hearing anything.
Our college internet is too low. I don't know. And my mobile data also not working over here.
It is okay, ma'am.
It's okay, madam. It's manageable.
I'm trying from many places, 2 different devices, but still it's not. Please bear with me.
Ma'am, it is okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So here, yes. So if we have to categorize this learning, it will be two, like unlearned and learned. So our main concern for this unit is about learned behavior. We are not focusing on unlearned behavior. So how whatever our behavior is, however we show the actions, it depends on what we learned. Yes, we do observe people, people around us. We do observe the situations around us, like in the environment, our environmental conditions, our cultural factors. Do teach us so many things to behave a certain way. Yes, not all the individuals are same in their behavior, in their actions. Definitely, there is a difference. Individual differences do exist. So, what is the reason behind this? Behind this difference? Yes. How come people differ? So, see, it's a continuous process. Continuously, we do learn the things. So here, what happens? Do we remember each and what we are learning? Do we can say whatever I'm learning is lifelong? We do learn it every day. We do learn something than the other. But do you can say that definitely you will remember that you will definitely use it in your life?
No, madam.
Definitely not. Yes. So certain things, whatever we learn, temporary. So right from our childhood, if immediately after a child takes birth, the child learns so many things. Yes, first it's right from observation. So the child actually acquired the motor skills, then verbal skills, then the development process takes place, means analysis, the cognitive aspects will takes place. So slowly acquisition of whatever the skills becomes automatic. Yes, and the child is not remembering actually how he learns it. So this becomes a part of his lifestyle. In this way, certain learnings are good and certain, we can't say whatever we are learning, definitely it's a positive impact on our behavior and definitely it's good for individual. We can't say that. There are learnings which are related to addictions. Yes, now we are talking a lot about behavioral addictions, drug addictions. Yes, so these are not good. Definitely the person will learn it, but we can't say they are really good for human development. Yes. So here, can't say always learning is positive and will have a positive impact on the behavior. No, it can be either Yes. And we both positive, but definitely we say motivational. So you'll be highly motivated after listening that session. So that motivation is nothing but learning. You learn certain tips or certain behaviors or certain ideas. So how to live your life or how to achieve the goal or something. So the all these so this we can't say the person is whoever got motivated from that session, that motivation will be there from lifelong. We can't say the person will get motivated. For few people, we can't say the individuals. Few people, they will definitely motivate. Apply to their entire life. It's not all clear from my end also. It's continuously, there's no connection.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking actually.
Sorry. Frequently, there is a clutch in the internet connection. I don't know. It's just. Hello.
Ma'am, it's still
Is it
the
audible?
same. No, ma'am.
I'm just helpless. Still the same?
Now better, ma'am.
Hello?
Ma'am, it's better now.
Okay, but I don't know how many seconds it's going to be like this.
Yes, ma'am, I do understand. Maybe there are a lot of network
Okay.
fluctuations. Yes.
Exactly. Actually, we have autonomy inspection in our college, and all of a sudden we are using internet. So it's not
Yeah.
working for anyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So I'm also not okay. So we are talking about learning. So if we directly, I'll go to definitions. So if we have to define learning, it's because it is not permanent in our behavior. So we can say it's a relatively permanent change in our behavior. Yes, not continuously there is an change in the behavior, but for some time there is a change in the behavior. So we can say it's a relatively permanent change. We can define it like this. So each and every individual will learn in a different way. Yes, I can't say that, see, this is the way I'm teaching, and around 39 students or the 38 to 39 will understand in the same way. Yes, because of these disturbances, some may find it very difficult, and few may be keenly interested in this and try to learn some things. And even though you are listening, you may not understand the concept. So each one will have their own capabilities and skills to acquire some knowledge. Yes, so this acquisition of knowledge is different person to person. One person will, that's the reason in learning in the school level, we do say few children are able to learn by listening, few children able to learn by seeing, few children have to hold some objects. Yes, so kinesthetic, they able to do it practically, then only they will learn. So there are different capabilities in individuals to acquire some knowledge.
Learning styles.
Learning styles, yes. Each and every individual will have different capabilities or styles to acquire some information.
Can
So
we define this way, madam, also?
it's not like,
this is like,
like,
every time you acquire some change in your behavior or something, there's some inference in memory takes place, change in memory. Now you can define that way that learning is a inferred change in memory as a result of our experience, relatively permanent. Because when you the unlearned response of the children, they're basically hereditary, nothing much memory in there. But slowly when the life child develops, he acquires some memory through his experience, other experience. So it changes memory.
True.
So that we can also define.
True.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Though whatever you are learning, that will stores in your memory, but not permanently. Yes, if it is storing in your memory, then only you can exhibit some change in your behavior. Yes, but that change is not permanent. That's the reason we are calling it as a relatively permanent change in behavior. Okay. So yes, whenever you are learning something, that definitely stores in your memory, you are paying attention towards it, you are analyzing that information, means all your cognitive process are taking place over there. Along with that cognitive process, definitely that information going to modify your behavior. Yes, to some extent, it's going to change your behavior, or you are unlearning certain behaviors. Means, for example, children who people whoever got addicted, when we sent to them to rehabilitation centers, so they're actually unlearn these behaviors. So learning or unlearning, both will take place through proper acquisition of some knowledge, some information. So this information definitely going to change your behavior, but not on permanent level, but for some time. Yes, so even though the person is not readily to change their behavior from addiction to de-addiction, we can't help them. So continuously they require some treatment. Yes, behavioral modification techniques should be applied. So here, nothing is completely permanent. Whatever we are learning is not completely going to change our behavior. For some time, we do change. We do, our behavior do get modified. So the overall definition, acceptable definition for learning is relatively permanent change in the behavior to get adjust to our environment. Yes. So through, yes, how we discussed, there are various styles to learn. I'm not talking in detail about this behavioristic orientation or cognitive orientation, because all these things we do learn, we do discuss, or I will explain while explaining these theories. Yes, we have various theories in learning. So each theory has come up with a different idea, like how do we learn, how actually an individual learns. So it actually talks about various styles. So not any theory is completely acceptable or not completely reject. Yes, so we do use multiple styles. It's not like, for example, I do observe people and learn. For each and everything, I don't observe and learn. For certain things, I may use some other styles also. But dominant style in me is observing and learning. Got it? So there are various styles, and we just can't say that person definitely use only one style in there throughout the lifespan. No, we do use multiple styles, but we use certain styles very dominantly compared to others. So here, each theory or each experiment has explained about his style of learning. So here, the basic one in learning is comes actually under behavioristic theories. So these behavioristic theories were actually given by Thorndike, Pavlov, Skinner, Hull. Okay, so Thorndike's theory was very basic in learning theories. So according to him, whenever we are learning something new, whatever it is, whenever we are learning something new, initially we do commit more errors. So it depends on how much interest we showing towards that learning, and how much practice we are taking every day to learn that. Depends on that, our learning will be takes place. Means initially we do commit more errors, and depends on the practice, these errors will comes down and that learning will become automatic. Yes, the best example for this theory is learning bicycle. So whoever learned bicycle, initially they might have commit so many errors. Many of the times they might have fell down. Yes, they are unable to control that, unable to balance that. Yes, balance the pedals and other things. So with proper practice, yes, people who ever did not afraid of getting hurt, so they'll get up and again learn, practice, then they might have learned about how to balance it, how to pedal, how to cycle. Yes, so this concept we can apply to each and every learning, whatever is new. Yes, whatever we are learning as a new subject, new skill, new ability, whatever we are acquiring, initially we commit more errors and later we reduce it, and that particular learning becomes automatic for us. So each and every theory will have certain laws. Yes, they do follow certain principles. So here, again, for Thorndike's Thorndike's theory, we do have certain laws. Laws are nothing but principles of this theory. So here, the first principle, it talks about law of effect. Law of effect is here how much like each trial, whenever you are practicing, for each attempt, how much satisfaction you are acquiring, how much satisfaction you are experiencing. So that satisfaction actually gives an motivation to practice again and again. If there is no motivation, the person will, in the first attempt only, if he fell down, then he'll say that, no, I just don't want to get hurt. I don't want to learn. Yes. So law of effect talks about how much you are motivated, how much you want to put effort to learn that skill. Then law of exercise, it's like how much repetition you takes place. So we just don't learn anything, the new one, in 1 or 2 trials. No, we need to keep on practice it. Yes. So people, if we fail in their first or second attempts, they don't like to continue the same. But we can learn irrespective of this repetitive failures. We are not supposed to think about these failures. We should continue, then only we can acquire the skill. So law of effect talks about your motivation levels. Exercise talks about how much you are practicing, like how many attempts you are ready to take. Then law of recency talks about its recency is the present one. Whatever you have memorized, whatever you have learned in the present. Yes. Then, so how we most of the times we do compare. See, if just imagine about only one example, bicycle. So you are fully motivated to learn your bicycle because you saw your friends are coming to school or college. Please go back to your school days and imagine that your friends are using bicycle to come to school. So you also got motivated. No, I also have to learn and go school by bicycle only. So you started practicing. Then what we do, yes, we are highly motivated. And second thing is we are go on practicing. And what we do while practicing, we check we do compare, we do check. Like, did I improve from the first trial to the present trial? Yes, first day, how was I was riding bicycle or how I controlled. And after 2 days or 3 days, how I am balancing. Yes, so this present development or present learning compared to the previous one is called recency. So if you are able to do better compared to previous one, definitely your motivation levels increases. You do try to put efforts for continuous practice. Yes, so for all these things, for this sustainable continuous motivation or consistency in the exercise and checking of your recency, all these requires first your readiness towards learning that skill, readiness towards acquiring that knowledge. Yes, so that talks about law of readiness, your psychological and physical readiness to achieve something. Okay, so these are the general laws which we in the examination most of the times they will ask, like write about Thorndike's theory and explain about the principles of trial and error. So in this whatever the theories we are learning, they have actually, because our subject is evidence based. If there is no evidence, you just can't prove it. Yes, so for each and everything you need an evidence. So what they did, they proved it with the experimentation. So directly if you administer a test or directly experiment on human beings, it is not ethical. You can't place a human being in a case and you can't test it. Yes, so ethically it's not acceptable. So what they did, they have conducted all these experiments on animals, and they applied the same principles to human behavior, because more or less our behavior is matched with animal. People are called as social animals. Yes. So Thorndike actually conducted an experiment on cat. Yes. Here, what he did, he just placed an hungry cat in a cage. Yes. Then he placed outside of the cage, he just put some food for the cat. So already cat is hungry, and outside of the cage, there is a food for the cat. And you just imagine how the cat tries to come out from the cage and have food. Yes, so it will actually observed that the cat will initially will have a random movements. It will just jump and scratch the cage and shows very random movements to come out from the cage. Then actually he puts for that case, he actually puts a trigger. If the cat press that trigger, the cage will be opened and the cat can come out. So for initially the cat just go ahead with random movements, and all of a sudden it just presses that trigger and it comes out, has its food. Again, what he did, again after 2 days, he just starves the cat and put it in the cage. So one after the other in the each trial, the cat shown reduces these random movements and starts learning how to trigger or how to press that trigger. Yes, and how to comes out. So initially it commits so many errors, and through proper practice, the cat actually learns to come out from that cage or box. So after around 10, cat actually learns immediately after placing the cat into the cage, directly it press that lever and comes out. Okay, so that was his theory. The same principles, the same trials and random movements we can apply to human behavior also. This is about the basic theory in Thorndike, learning. So that was Thorndike's trial and error. Then second one is a very famous Pavlov's classical conditioning. So classical conditioning, why it's called classical conditioning? Because Pavlov is the first person who actually conducted an experiment on conditioning. How many of you know what exactly conditioning is?
Regulating means controlling, madam.
Regularizing.
Sorry?
Conditioning means controlling, madam.
Controlling.
Regulating. Regularizing.
Any other?
Somewhat like regularizing.
Regularizing. Any other?
According to situation, we mold our behavior.
Conditioning means association.
It is restriction, madam.
Yes.
Restriction.
Not
Some
exactly
advertisement is
restriction.
given, bottle is given star. So the conditions
Okay, what
applied.
you are
Means there will
saying
be
is
hidden
right.
restrictions.
Here, through conditioning, actually we are learning how we can associate the things. Yes, conditioning means associating. So in Pavlov's conditioning, please you can refer this experiment. I'm not going in detail of this experiment. So here in Pavlov's theory, actually the central concept is association, how we can associate and learn. So in classical conditioning, always we can observe two stimulus. Two stimulus are must when we have to learn. So we are learning the connection or association between these two stimulus. Yes. So what happens, for example, if we have to apply, how many of you knows about this Pavlov's dogs experiment?
I know, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
We know, ma'am.
Dog salivates when
On the
some
side of
burger
food.
is
Yeah,
or
we know
some
that.
bell is running.
Yes. So here what happens, the entire experiment takes place in 3 phases. Yes. What he does, first he has taken a starving, a hungry dog. Then he just, in the initial stage, there are 2 concepts. One is conditioned stimulus. Unconditioned stimulus means there is a stimulus. Yes. Another one is response. So conditioned stimulus, conditioned response, conditioned, unconditioned stimulus, unconditioned response. So these are the terms you should remember over here. So if we have to apply this, he actually taught a dog to learn the relationship between bell and food. Yes. So first stage, when he placed a dog in the laboratory and he just tied the dog, then he shows the food. Yes. So this food is unconditional stimulus. There is no condition over there. It's an unconditional stimulus is presented in front of the dog. Then immediately after seeing the food, the dog starts salivating. So this saliva is the response by seeing that stimulus. Yes or no? So that stimulus is unconditioned response. We have in the first phase, when shows an unconditioned stimulus, we can observe an unconditioned response for that food. It's an first phase. Second stage, what he did, second phase or second stage, what he did, first, he rang a bell. Yes, ringing the bell is a conditioned stimulus. The bell, ringing the bell is a presentation of another stimulus that is conditioned. Then, first time when he rang the bell, there is no response from the dog's end. Okay, there is no response. Then what he did, he tried to teach the dog to learn the association between bell and food. Yes, so what he did, he first rang the bell, then presented the food. Rang the bell, presented the food. So slowly the dog got conditioned, learned the association between bell and food. So what the dog actually learned, okay, whenever the bell rings, I'm going to get the food. Yes, that's the association actually learned by the dog. So when there is when a bell is ringing, just a minute.
Hello.
Yes, I'm good. So, okay. So here what happened, the dog actually learned the association between bell and food. So here, after around 10 trials, the dog learned it. And when the bell rings, immediately the dog starts salivating because of the thought that it's going to get the food. So here, bell is an conditioned response and the saliva in response, the dog salivates. So this is a conditioned response towards that stimulus. Got it? So if you have to apply the same concept in our day-to-day life, will you able to give any example how we might have learned anything through association? Any example?
Standing in attention when we hear the national anthem.
Very good. Yes. Any other example? See, very simple. It's like people will have their own lucky things. Yes. Or in Hindu culture, mostly people say that whenever we are going out, if anybody sneezes or if they see a cat passing from there, so they ask us to sit for some time and go back again. Yes. So that's also a learning, a belief that something bad will happen if we saw a cat before we are leaving the house. Yes, that's a conditioning. Or people will have this belief of lucky color, lucky person, lucky pen or lucky dress or something. Yes. So how they might have developed this? Do each and every person will have same color as a lucky color, same pen as a lucky pen? No. Yes, we do observe this in sports people. Like people will have their own personal or lucky bat or lucky rat or something. Yes. So how they might have
Madam,
developed this
ringing tone is also association.
ringing?
Mobile
Mobile
ringtones, the most of them is association. Suddenly ringing, everybody suddenly picking their phone ringing on. So this is
it's
also
an
called as
association. This will be an association only. So if, for example, in this, in most of the families, we see is that nowadays, in the present generation, mothers are very strict with the children compared to father. Yes. Earlier in our days, when see, fathers used to be very strict. Yes, they were not very generally allowed children to watch TVs and other things. So 5 to 6 is your study time. Means 5 to 6 you have to study. So it used to happen like whenever I'm giving my own example. Like we used to watch TV. Whenever our father's bike sounds comes, immediately we used to close the channel and we used to have our books in our hands. Yes. So the bike sound is, and we learned that there is an association of arrival of father and scolding if we watch the TV. Yes. So to avoid that, we learned that immediately by listening his bike's honk or sound or something, immediately we used to stop watching TV and start reading the books. It's an association. Yes. So first here, what is happening? First stimulus is giving a signal, ready signal for the second stimulus. Means our lucky color or pen or whatever it is, person, whatever it is, giving a signal of a success. Yes. Or if we are watching TV and father is arriving, his bike sound, he is giving a signal that he is there, and if you are going on watch the TV, you are going to get the scoldings. Yes. So always
ambulance.
First stimulus. Yes. Yes. Ambulance signal gives. We becomes very alert and we automatically give some space to move. Yes. So that's an conditioning. That's an association which we develop towards to stimulus. Okay. So this conditioning, this stimulus, what we are learning, how we develop the conditioning or association depends on individual. Yes, it differs person to person. Okay. So it's all these, whatever theories we are talking about, it's all individualized learning. So it may change person to person. So here in this classical conditioning also, we have certain principles. So these principles are known as extension, spontaneous recovery, generalization, discrimination, then higher order conditioning. These are the various principles we can observe in Pavlov's conditioning theory. So here extension is when the dog actually learned. If this the same thing we can apply to human beings also. So here what happens, because you all know this experiment, that's the reason I'm talking only in the context of experiment. So how we can understand the law or principle of extension. Here what happens, the dog actually learned whenever the bell rings, I'm going to get the food. The dog learned that it's going to get the food. If without presenting the food, if you go on ringing only the bell, you are not presenting the food. So for a few times, the dog will give the response. It salivates. But after some time, after few trials, maybe after 4 to 5 trials, the dog actually learns, okay, this person only rings the bell, but not going to provide any food. Yes, it stops salivating. Means the dog unlearn the previous learning. Yes, whatever it learns, the association, it's got unlearned now because of this extension. Yes, initially, if with a lucky pen, whenever I write 2 or 3 exams, I was very much successful in my exams. After that, after 3-4 exams, I'm not able to pass. 2 exams, 3 exams. Then I unlearn. I stop believing that that particular pen is my lucky pen. No, I'm not. So I'm unlearning the previous one. That is extension. This unlearning takes place because of this extension in the second stimulus arrival. Then spontaneous recovery. Spontaneous recovery, even after extension, again we'll be having some somewhere the thought will be there. No, 2 exams I might have failed, but let me try this time. I may be successful. Yes, suddenly again we'll get that thought. Suddenly the dog will start saliving. So that is known as spontaneous recovery. This is very this is for only for some time. It's very temporary in nature, not for longer time. Okay. Then generalization. There is a concept of generalization where we actually learn giving response not only to this what bell. The dog actually is not only responding while listening the bell sound, ringing bell, but it also get associated by the footsteps of the individual or smell of that food provider. Yes. So by seeing these also, the dog starts learning the association. So even though the person is not ringing the bell, by listening his footsteps or by able to sense the smell of that person, the dog starts salivating. Yes. So that is known as generalization. Then if a dog is ignoring other factors, only focused on ringing the bell, then this is known as discrimination. Yes, clearly understood that if any other person comes, the dog won't respond. Yes, only it responds only to that particular person, particular bell's ring. So it's called discrimination. Very particular about that pen, very particular about that person. So this is about classical conditioning. So there is a wide application part of this theory. So whenever the central concept of this theory is 2 stimulus presents are must. So first stimulus gives a signal for the second stimulus. It gives an indication of the arrival of the second stimulus. Then what we are learning an association between these 2. That could be positive or negative, whatever it is. Am I clear?
Madam, one doubt, madam.
Yes.
What is this trace conditioning, madam, and neutral trace? Somewhere it is written in our material, madam. Trace conditioning.
Sir? Where it is, sir? Hello?
Page number 170, madam.
Trace conditioning.
Page under acquisition. Under acquisition, it has come, madam. Under acquisition, last sentence. And in trace condition, the conditional stimulus is presented first and then removed before unconditional stimulus. Only a neutral trace of conditional stimulus remains to be conditioned. I could not understand that.
It's not there in the book, whatever I am following. You please read that, sir. I can explain.
Okay, madam. In acquisition, in delayed conditioning, the conditional stimulus begins several seconds or more before the onset of unconditional stimulus, and they continues with it until the response occurs. And in trace conditioning, the conditional stimulus is presented first and then removed before the unconditional stimulus starts. Only a neutral trace of the conditional stimulus remains to be conditioned. That is what is written there.
This is actually nothing but extension, sir.
Okay.
Yes. So here what happens, you are giving this unconditional, you are presenting the unconditional, conditioned stimulus, that bell rings, yes, and delayed in unconditional stimulus. You are presenting conditional stimulus and delaying in unconditional stimulus. Yes, presenting the bell's ring, but not providing the food.
Yes.
If it is go on delayed, then the dog will unlearn this process. So there's no tracing. Learning is nothing but tracing that.
Okay.
Yes, able to acquire that knowledge means tracing the association between these two stimulus. If before the dog learns, yes, completely understands what is the relationship between these two, if you are not providing, then also dog unable to learn it, or immediately after learning, after completely learns the association between these two, if you go on delayed providing the unconditional stimulus, then also the dog will unlearn that learned behavior.
Okay.
In both the conditions.
Okay.
In inappropriate learning or after proper learning also, if you delayed or removed this second stimulus, then the dog will unlearn that previously learned behavior.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, this is about Pavlov's classical conditioning. And the second experiment or second theory in behavioral theories and conditioning theories is about Skinner's operant conditioning. Yes, so you might have heard a lot about Skinner. So in the present behavioral modification techniques, whatever we are using in counseling process, so this classical conditioning, based on this classical conditioning and operant conditioning, various techniques were developed. Yes, so Skinner actually has given a lot more principles towards the learning, how an individual learns. Yes, so Pavlov says it's totally about the presentation of the stimulus, but we are not passive enough always, depends only on some occurrence of the event. Yes, it's only about the events. We are learning the association between two events, two individual, or something which is not very much related to us. Then another type of technique where if something is provided to us directly or indirectly, how we can change or how we can modify one's behavior, or how we can teach them to learn something. Yes, so based on this concept, Skinner has come up with various concepts in his theory. That is very interesting concept is reinforcement. Yes, he has come up with the concept of reinforcement. So he categorized this. Please mute yourselves, whoever is unmuted. So this reinforcement, according to Skinner, has categorized into three: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. Okay, so reinforcement here, reinforcers means which say there are certain behavioral consequences will take place, behavioral actions will take place. So if we have to encourage them, if we have to strengthen them, the desired behavior, if it requires a behavior, or we expect the person should behave that in a particular manner again and again, to strengthen that, we encourages that person. So these reinforcers are encouragers or encouragement for the behavior. So through encouragement, through proper consequences, or what we can say, instructions, we can modify one's behavior, or we can teach a person, or a person will learns. Yes, by whatever the instructions or whatever the reinforcements the person is receiving, based on that he can change or modify his own behavior. So first he has given positive reinforcement. What exactly this positive reinforcement is? This operant conditioning means this actually operates, yes, which actually influences or operates our behavior. What makes us to behave in a particular manner. Okay, so positive reinforcements actually given to strengthen one's behavior. Yes, positive reinforcement we provide to strengthen one's behavior. Means whatever the behavior we are expecting from a person, to motivate it, to strengthen that, we are providing this reinforcers. Will you give any example for positive reinforcement? Is there anyone who can give example for positive reinforcement?
Ma'am, rewarding is a form of positive reinforcement.
Yes. In what are the different ways you can reward others?
Like praising or
very good.
Say giving a gift or giving an award, any kind of recognition.
Yes. So when you are providing this reinforcement after exhibiting that behavior, yes, if the child able to score good grades in their examinations, then we are praising the child, or most of the parents, they do promise the child, like, if you score this much grade, then we'll buy this to you. Yes, or we allow you to play for this time, or will join you in so and so activities or something. So after occurrence of the behavior, to strengthen it, we are providing these reinforcers. Yes, already they are showing that behavior. Afterwards, we are saying that, yes, this is what we are expecting from you. We want you to expect this behavior again and again. So I'm praising, I'm giving some gift. Okay. So the same concept we can apply everywhere, even parents and the organizations and everywhere people uses this reinforcement. Then what could be a negative reinforcement? Here reinforcement itself is an provider. Something we are providing, something we are giving to other individuals, which creates their behavior. So positive is very much clear. What is negative reinforcement?
That would be punishment, ma'am.
We have another concept of punishment. Very clear concept of punishment. See, I told you very clearly, in the positive reinforcement, this takes place after occurrence of the behavior. But negative reinforcement is before occurrence of the behavior, we are giving some reinforcement. Means negative, most of the times we use negative reinforcement compared to positive reinforcement. Psychology students should be very clear in this concept of positive and negative reinforcement. Every layperson thinks negative reinforcement means a punishment. Punishment is taking away something which is desired by the individual. Yes, child likes to watch movie, watch something. If you take away the TV or entertainment, that's a punishment. But in the reinforcement, we are not taking away anything, but we are providing something. Yeah, in both positive and negative, we are providing something. The main difference between positive and negative is when we are providing. Yes, in positive, after occurrence of the behavior, we are giving this reinforcement. In negative reinforcement, before occurrence of the behavior, we are providing reinforcement. Here what happens in negative reinforcement, before some disturbance, inconvenience takes place for the organism, we are what we can say, we are taking a measure, we are taking a preventive measure. Yes, for example, in this summer, this is very hot, so we are wearing very light clothes. Yes, do we use any sweaters or any other things in summer? Definitely we avoid it. Yes, so we do take care of our clothing in the winter, summers, to protect our self. Yes, protect our body, protect our organism. So this is known as negative reinforcement. People wear helmet. People do follow traffic rules. Why? To avoid accidents. Yes, so to avoid the discomfort, to avoid what we can say, disturbances, we are reinforcing ourselves. Yes, people, most of the teachers, motivational speakers, if they have to address a large gathering, definitely uses microphones. Yes, so speakers, we are using speakers to avoid pain in the throat. Yes, before it takes place, we are protecting our organism through proper reinforcements. This is about negative reinforcement. I hope I'm clear with positive and negative reinforcement.
Ma'am, can you give another example of
Teacher
negative?
is giving, yeah, teacher gives some tips to the children, like you need to follow this, give some tips or instructions how to score good marks in the examination. So before the child loses their marks, teacher is giving instructions to the child how to score good. Yes, after scoring good marks, if you appreciate, that is positive reinforcement. But before writing the exam, if you are giving proper direction to the child how to score good marks, before he lost his marks, before he be getting anxious or be stressed out, you are giving certain instructions like how to be calm in the examination and how to score good marks. That is negative reinforcement. Yes, in the organizations also, once the team is reaching the goal, able to fulfill their assigned task, then give some of monetary benefits or recognition, position or something, that is known as positive reinforcement. Negative reinforcement, before you accomplish, if you give a manager.
Madam, but all these things, whatever you are saying, positive reinforcement is also can be possible before occurrence. You said it is after occurrence.
Positive reinforcement always takes place after the occurrence of the behavior.
But you are saying now
once the person already showed, that's what in organizations, if the team achieves whatever the task they have assigned to them, after achievement, if you are giving a praise or a position or something, that is known as positive reinforcement.
Okay,
yes,
the
before
result
the
is
team reaches
positive
the goal,
reinforcement and the
exactly.
Okay, so we can call it as
process
a
of
condition.
achieving that is a negative reinforcement.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much.
In the process, if you are giving the guidance how to achieve it, that is known as negative reinforcement. And why we called it negative? To avoid that negative conditioning, to avoid that negative occurrence, we are reinforcing the person. We are reinforcing ourselves. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Punishment is,
yes, ma'am.
Punishment is a direct, direct effect. It's an direct, again, an operant or instrument through which we clearly indicating or teaching like the person learns the punishment. Means directly taking away something which is pleasant to the child or pleasant to the people. Whatever the child likes, whatever person likes, if we are taking away from that person, is punishment. It's very much direct. So through this punishment also, we can teach them. For example, drug addicts. Okay, in the rehabilitation center, they will give this shock therapy. Yes, so this shock therapy is a punishment to unlearn that behavior. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is about, okay. Then this operant conditioning, whenever we have to reinforce, there is a certain schedules. Yes, when which reinforcement is effective. Okay, with how much gap we have to take. Like if you go on praise the person, if you go on reinforce the person, after some time it becomes very automatic for the intellect. Okay, this person go on praise. That effect won't be there for a longer time. Yes, people will be very satisfied when they get some appreciation from the person who never ever appreciates anyone. All of a sudden, if the person, very strict manager or very strict teacher comes and praises you, you know that that person never praises anyone. If that person comes and praises you, that gives a lot of satisfaction and motivation compared to the person who always praises. Yes or no? So,
yes, madam.
Not always reinforcement will provide the learning. Yes, not always reinforcement operates or instrumentalized behavior or learning. Sometimes uses the responses current of the behavior or learning. So this there are the various schedules which actually talks about how reinforcement works out. So this fixed ratio, fixed interval, variable ratio, variable interval, all these four talks about how reinforcement is workful. Okay. So this we will continue in tomorrow's class. Tomorrow, I hope so. This kind of disturbance won't be. I'll be at home. So we finished off this learning units by tomorrow. Okay. We left out with 2 more classes. And please don't worry. I'm going to take your extra classes also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
For everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
We'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank
then.
you, ma'am.